fly today is a Ligon. It used to be made by Arcardo and Peck. This is my version of it. Not much difference between what you used to buy at the local discount store and what I tie, with the exception of I use round rubber legs versus the old flat that Arcardo did. So it's an interesting little fly. You can't find it anymore. Still works. Today I'm going to tie it on a size 6 because it's just easier to see while it's on the vise. Materials: a hook, some chenille, rubber legs, and squirrel tail fiber wing. And what I'm planning to do is I'm going to tie it on a size 6, and I'm going to tie it at full speed for the first one, and then when I'm going to do a discussion for the second one. And I'm only going to tie it in black, even though there are a ton of colors you can tie it in. Anyway, I'm really heavy-handed, so you'll see that I use size A rod wrapping threads for a lot of my larger hooks like this. Keeps me from breaking it all the time, and it actually works fairly well. The chenille I'm using is from the craft store. Large chenille. I think they call it blanket or something. I'll have to go take a close look at what it actually was that I'm using. But it's large. I'm going all the way back to the bend of the hook. And then I'm coming all the way to the front. And because I'm heavy-handed and I'm kind of clumsy at times, I try to half hitch in between tools. I know this is a rotary vise, and you can use the rotary feature, but I'm not going to this time, just because not everybody has a rotary vise. So I showed you how to do that. And we'll talk about that when I go through that to slow speed. Alright. I got a few fibers, loose wrap. There we go. Nice bass skirts. Charming cheapie. I don't know how many of these things I have. A few hundred, maybe 1,000, I don't know. But they're inexpensive. Buy a ton of them for next to nothing, and they make great legs. And what I've done is I've taken 2 fibers off of the pole, soft wrap, just to get them held in place. Soft wrap, soft wrap, soft wrap. So pull to where you think you want them, torque them down really nice, go forward to the head. Again, half hitch because, well, anyway. Squirrel tail. I love to use squirrel tail on this one. I don't know why it works so well. It has a good action. Alright. Pull to adjust, tighten it down, fold it over, torque it, half hitch it. And of course, we're going to wet finish anyway. You didn't see me do that. Bad habit of mine. I shouldn't do that when I'm actually doing fly tie videos. Alright, so that's the glue. That's the entire fly. And if you'll check the timer, what was that, 2 minutes maybe? Maybe 2 minutes? Alright, so slight modification. I'm going to gather all the legs, pull them up top, and trim them evenly. There we go. I'm done. That's the entire fly. That just gives you an idea how fast it can be. Alright, so put that one to the side, let it dry. Now let's talk about what we're doing and why. This is a 948, no, this is a 3366A. Take a look at the size of that hook eye. Look at that sucker. Maybe if I put a button up you can see it better. But that eye is extra large. Makes it real easy for somebody like me to thread the hook. And it's a standard hook, it's a Sproat, so it's heavy-ish, and it does fairly well for getting the fly down. The thread, again, size A rod wrapping. Use 6/0 if you want smaller flies, smaller thread. I'm going to be using big hook this time and big chenille. So wrap the thread, single base, spiral it all the way to halfway down the end of the hook. All right? Trim off your little bit of tag, then take it all the way back. So you're going to wind up with 2 full layers of thread. I take it right behind the eye. Some people like to cut their chenille. I just leave it in a big ball and I just grab the end. I'm going to put it right behind the eye at the no-go point, and I'm going to tie it down. And once it's tied down, see it's tied in, I'm going to pull it up and towards me, and I'm going to lock it down with nice loose spiral wraps all the way down. Remember where we had the thread? Halfway down the bend, halfway down the bend. This gives it a little bit of butt base, and it gives the fly something to grab. Makes it a little more durable in my opinion. Then I'm going to take and bring it back behind the eye, give it a half hitch. Get the thread out of the way. I'm not using the rotary function. I'm just wrapping. Wrap, and it's fairly close wrap. It doesn't have to be. Just depends on the chenille. Notice it makes a big, thick abdomen. Notice the width of my scissors. That's where I'm stopping. I'm going to wrap it, I'm going to pull it up, wrap it down. If you take that one extra wrap, you wind up crowding the eye. And even a big eye like that, you really don't want to do that. So, again, because I'm heavy-handed, I'll put a half inch in there. The fibers, these are just bass skirts. They come in a multitude of colors. And they probably can be used for a lot of other things besides legs. I just yank them off. Just a couple of fibers. And you'll notice they're glued right here on the end. I'll just trim that off. It's not a big deal. You don't need it, just extra. When you get done, these are going to be rather long. Fold in half, cut. Now I'm going to take and put the thread back to the thread should hang right by the hook point. See that? That's where I'm going to put my legs. A technique you can use to make sure that you've got all the legs in one place. Lay them on top, 2 soft wraps, and then just tug them to where you want them. It works rather easily, and some people would rather use this method than my method of just yanking them on the sides. And it makes it nice and easy. And then after you get them in place, tug, wrap nice and hard, put them to where you want them. I broke one. So what do? You take and make one more leg. When I tried to tug it into place, I actually broke the leg. And that happens. So show you how to recover from that. You just make a couple more legs. Soft wrap, soft wrap, soft wrap. Then take and pull it to where you want it. And I did it again. Can you believe that? That is crazy. That's okay, because I had the other one a minute ago. There we go. Put it into place. Put it into place. The legs are always so much fun. Torque it down, pull the thread to the eye, right behind the eye. Now we're going to talk about the squirrel tail. If anybody's used squirrel tail, I'm going to show you why a lot of people absolutely hate it. And that's all it is. This is the tip section of a squirrel tail. The top, the very tip. This is towards the base. Notice the difference in the fiber. The fibers in my left hand, this one, are just as long as twice the fibers toward the base. These fibers towards the tip are longer. I think they're easier to use. For the squirrel tail, you only want about 20 to 30 fibers. That's about 40. Hang on a second. There we go. That's about 30. I'm going to cut it very, very close to the squirrel skin. I'm going to tie it to the front. You ready? Tie it to the front. Torque down, torque down, torque down, torque down. Now the reason why a lot of people hate squirrel, it has a pretty good amount of torque on it, by the way. All you got to do with squirrel is just yank it and it's gone. You can glue it in, you can tighten the living mess out of it, you can do whatever you want with squirrel. You give it a good yank and it slips right out. Squirrel is a slippery fur. So the trick I use, notice I did not stack the ends, they're all mismatched. And I'll show you how I measure in just a second. But how I manage it is I tie it down fairly snug. I adjust it to where I want it, and I'm going to measure. I want it to go all the way past the white legs. And then I'll give this a little trim. Not much, just a little trim. Then I will bend it back, bend all of the fibers back, tie it down, give a half hitch, give a half hitch, and find my whip finisher and finish up the fly. To fish this fly, you just throw it out there and you little 1, 2, 3 inch strips, pause, 1, 2, 3 inch strips, pause. It will sink. And depending on the material that you used, it will dictate its sink rate. You know, folks are saying, why do you even up the legs? Well, this fly is bulky. When you toss it, if you've got the wrong tippet, it will spin your fly line or spin your tippet and just curl it all up. Use a larger tippet for the larger flies, and it shouldn't twist it as badly. The smaller tippets, they'll be destroyed in 2 or 3 casts. You'll have to change it out anyway. Throw it out there, let it sink, twitch, let it go. That's the whole fly right there. I suppose I should put some glue on it, right? Your color variations are not limited. I think I've said that before. This right here is just an idea of a pattern. How you tie it, the colors you want to use, is completely up to you. I have other colors that I use, and I mean all kinds of colors, okay? My favorite is still black. For some reason, if you want black bass, you throw a black fly. And I'll put some descriptions at the header. Thank you.